So you know each other's names and you have sat with each other in some rooms listening to things. You have met two people who have done the TransEgo jump. There has been one mission. One. You are the second mission. You have met two members of that team. Both of them are obviously traumatized. One of them is an American military guy who is obviously dealing with major anger management and PTSD. And he hates you, all of you. You have figured out that he wants to go back with all Marines on the team. And one of the members on the team did not come back. At least his mind did not come back.
His mind come back.
Right. And another member of the team was taken away by their government, which happens to be Russia, and not given back. As soon as the team came back and woke up, as soon as they got an idea of how badly psychologically damaged they were, that agent, who had been a special agent from the Soviet military, was whisked back to, I say Soviet, the Russian military, was whisked back to Russia immediately. And nobody has seen him since. And then the third one is an Asian American woman who seems to be pretty rational, but she often loses what she was about to say, and she will not let go of a Christian crucifix. She will not let go of it. She just has it all the time in her head. So you have learned some things from the briefing. You have learned that your minds will all land in the same body. You will learn that Isabella Bain, the woman who built the TransEgo device, the team claims that she is there. Her mind is there.
But does that mean that her body is still here?
Well, back in the 1940s it was. It would be a very interesting question what happened to that body. But that was 90 years ago or 85 years ago. For another detail, which I think Ola knows, if you want to shift to a new body, everybody has to agree and you have to touch the other person. The staff are not sure how crazy the old jump team really is. They don't know how much of this was a hallucination, and they don't know how much of it, how trustworthy the individual reports are. One of the team claims that the missing member deliberately stayed behind, for example. But there's one thing that both of them will tell you. Perfect. So, Ola, I talked about transferring to another host. I will also say they tell you one thing for sure. Do not get trapped in a corpse.
Because
Don't
that's what
get trapped in
happened.
a corpse. They will do not, if your host body is about to die or is getting injured, get out. You can all return back to this reality into your own bodies instantly, as long as all of you agree to do it. There are several conditions as well. One of you will be in charge of the host body. The others will perceive everything and feel a little bit, but they cannot make it move or act. According to these two, those individuals who they call crickets, because they say that if you're in charge of the host body, it's like having all of these annoying crickets talking at the same time. And so the crickets can use their psychic powers. The ICES staff is really, really skeptical about these powers. It sounds like a stupid anime movie to them, and they think that the team must have been hallucinating or fantasizing.
So,
And
so basically, we don't know that we have these abilities that
absolutely
are on our
correct. Yeah,
television.
you are being told that you do by these guys, by the two
Yeah.
agents, whose names, by the way, the grumpy American is Kane, and the where did they go? Ah, yes, and the woman is Shayna Jazi. So anyway, the point though is that it is time to go. Oh, what am I saying? What is your mission? The mission is information. As far as the management of ICES is concerned, the first team made a horrible mistake. They tried to explain themselves to people that they met, and therefore gave up the critical information that somebody on Earth could do this and send minds there to this place called Xenos. And that's the last thing they should have done. They should never have done that. Your mission, therefore, is to gather information. They cannot trust this team. They are too damaged. They don't know if Isabella Bain's mind is over there on this place called Xenos. They need confirmation that it is a place full of monsters and terror and human prisoners and slaves. They need some kind of concrete information as to who might be sending these monsters to attack Earth. And how do they do it? Because they are transmitting matter, not just minds.
Mm.
And they need to understand better anything about location. All of you are going to be asked to look at the sky if there are stars and try to memorize the constellations and the appearance. Those will be brought to models of what skies must look like on other planets that we know about. You will be required to take as much data as you can with any specialties that you have. You cannot bring the data back, but you can try to remember as much about it as you can. You need to learn as much as you can, and do not give away that you are a jump team. That's critical.
Do we have opportunity to ask
Yes,
the
you do.
ones that were
Uh-huh.
because but what when it comes to like culture and language and all those stuff, how do you communicate with something alien?
That is the strange thing, according to the jump team, and this is one thing that the staff, one reason why the staff thinks this is very strange. Everybody over there is speaking English.
Not Chinese.
Correct.
That's
And they are
strange.
talking about huge
Yes.
monsters with tentacles, as well as humans. And yet they describe a completely alien landscape, crazy alien animals.
The concept of monsters, is that a concept that they also use? Because that's
What they
kind of
describe, well, you see, remember, we do have these monsters attacking the Earth,
yeah.
and they are the same kinds of things.
And they don't. I mean, when we didn't know about the rhinoceros, we thought that was a monster.
Well,
But
yes,
now
correct.
we classify it as an animal. But it's not like that. So they also have monsters that are kind of monsters.
Well, yes, and also remember, you have reports and documentation here on Earth of these humanoid bestial creatures with cybernetic guns coming off their shoulders and huge mouths full of fangs attacking and killing dozens of people. So You know monsters exist.
Yeah,
It's-
I understand that, but I just and we call them monster because they're not a part of our culture or they're something aberrant. But if it's the same there, are they aberrant in that alien?
that then becomes a question.
Yeah.
According
Yeah.
to the jump team, the answer is yes.
All right. Let's go.
Okay. So I would like each, however, we need to practice one thing. I would like each of you to choose a skill that you want to have used during the briefing and during the last 2 days and what you would use it for. We will do this once for everybody.
One, just one.
Just one. Something you would try
I
to
know.
Then
do.
I'm listening.
Yes, so you would have been listening where you are not supposed to listen, somewhere around the facility. Correct? Okay.
That
So
sounds good.
this and just to be in ordinary role playing, I would probably ask you more about what you wanted to do, especially because I would be describing the general situation more. But in this case, I am going to go directly to a situation and just put you in it. The conversation that you can overhear when they don't think you are there or don't think you are listening is that Mark Kane, and you know his name is Mark because the person talking to him is named Mark, and he is talking to a medical staff member at ICES in this installation. Mark is insisting that Kasparian, who was one of the jump team, is a traitor and has gone to join Isabella Bain. He says she's like a hero to him. And you will learn that they really need Kasparian back because he's the only person who is considered an expert about the TransEgo device. In fact, he made the modern changes to it that allowed it to accommodate all these people and to upgrade the electronics. He's the one who did that. And he's the one that Mark says is a traitor and stayed on Xenos in order to join this woman, who incidentally was a horrible person who experimented on humans and did all sorts of atrocities when she made this machine. Then she stuck herself in it and her mind went away just before she was caught. Now, what skill? So you have learned that there is some pretty dark history going on with this jump team, okay? That they did not tell you all the details. So how about you, Nathan? What would Albert be using on his own, given just a little bit? Also, remember, you are more familiar with this situation than the others because you are there as an informed academic participant.
I will use psychiatry.
Ah, on who? On whom? Who is your target?
I was more thinking about psychiatry on a overall basis, like trying to figure out who is lying, who is
You are going to have to be
obviously
more
making up
specific.
things.
Right, you are going to have to be more specific in a direct interaction.
Did we see our boss, the one in charge of all of
Yes,
that?
you
Because
have all met. You have all met Edmund Brackenberry, who is the science director, and he actually.
So I will use it.
Yeah, he actually grew up in Dillon, Nebraska. That's why the headquarters is here, because he has been involved with ICES all the way back in the beginning, before it even had its name. He was a friend of one of the two founders.
Okay.
And he actually helped provide a great deal of the starting money before they became more elaborately funded. So the private funding that began this entire thing for the last 25 years began with this guy. So he's an older guy, very Midwestern American, looks like a lot of billionaires, which means he looks kind of like a boring bus driver kind of guy.